Yeah, well, Belfast, and Glengumney, where I'm from, that's always where I'm going to be, where I'd see home is. As much as I live in London, I still love getting home and just everything about it. I started playing football when I was about 4, and I was just for a wee team called Bangor Rangers, and then at 7 I moved to Glentoran, stayed there for a few years, was in a team that won a lot, and then I moved to Linfield to try and give myself more opportunity, going through to the first team. And it was just all about football. Ever since I could walk, my first word was ball, and ever since then I've just always loved playing football.
This is where Callum would have done most of his kind of initial when he was 2. This is where Tim would have taken him in here. This is a Valley Leisure Centre. Again, that's all new pitches over there. That would have been grass pitches, so Callum would have trained over there. And then they've cages. They've redone the cages, but we would have played 3, 4, 5 aside in many nets. I'm not going to be able to drive up, I don't think. No, the barriers down. This is the leisure centre in here, and you can see where the fenced stuff is. That's all just wee mini pitches in there. So that's where Tim would have taken Callum, and the IFA would have done stuff in there as well. Even before Callum started with Bangor, I would have taken him down here on a Saturday morning, and the IFA would have done we small clubs would come in and they play different games. And the guy who took it, knew Callum was a decent player, and he would have threw Callum into one of the teams just to let him play, and Callum was kind of scoring goals against kids that were 4 or 5 years older than him.
So yeah, it was always about football when I grew up. I was training between club and Glentoran. I was in a Liverpool academy in Northern Ireland and a Man United one stage. I was training 6 nights a week at 10 or something. So yeah, it was quite intense, but at that age, you don't even think about being tired or nothing. It's just all you want to do is play football.
Kathy's always said Callum's first word was ball, and every memory that we have, there's always been a ball somewhere in the pictures.
Like in holiday.
Even the likes of that one where he wasn't really even walking. People just gave him balls because they
used to cry for them.
So that what do you call that?
That's a travel cut.
Travel cut was just filled with balls on holiday.
That's him taking his first steps. The first steps he took, do you remember? He was just walking after a ball.
And I said our holidays were even based around football as well, because we always went to holiday villages, and holiday villages have soccer schools. So he would have went to football every day for an hour and a half, even in the heat. He just loved playing football. And then even if we went to a hotel that didn't have a soccer school in it, there had to be a football pitch on it, so he would get me to do stuff with him. So I would spend an hour and a half a day just kind of kicking the ball about with him.
Kieran used to take him to this place called Snakes and Ladders in Bangor, and it had a 3G pitch, and he was only about 2 or 3.
It was a soft play area with all the slides, all the usual things that kids go in and play. But as a side to that, it was just a cage
with a pitch in it.
With a pitch in it, and Callum would have spent the whole time in there playing football.
That's where Robin approached you, because he saw him with Callum coaching him, and Robin says, "Look, to see your wee boy play for a team or anything?" And Kieran went, "No," and he says, "Well, I run a team, Bangor Rangers." So Kieran got roped into coaching the Bangor Rangers, and Callum ended up, there's a picture there. He was 4. You had to be 6 to play for that team, but they let him play because he was the coach's son.
Everyone in Northern Ireland, you work towards the end of 5th year, and then that's when you would go to England if you got offered. Yeah, Linfield knew that I'd had what it take to get away, so they were just trying to push me and I was training with the first team every day. It was class, just not going to school, going in training every day and just going home. I was fun, like, especially being around like the first team and stuff. David Healy, he was a big Northern Ireland player and he played in the Premier League and stuff, and he was our manager at Linfield, and I think he saw something in me. Like, he watched the reserve games and saw how well I was doing for Linfield reserves. He knew what to say to me, like what I needed to improve on and how to make me a better player.
Callum was a player that we had tried to initially sign previously. We couldn't. But when the opportunity arose, when we brought Callum in, first and foremost, we thought it was an opportunity to add what we had in and around our own first team squad, even though Callum was still sort of so young. He was always out and out goal scorer, natural goal scorer, could finish off both feet. He had really, really good intelligent movement, and again, it's no surprise that he, not only did he make the move, I know how successful he was when he first went over.
When he came into the club, he hit the ground running, and we could see from early doors that he was just a natural goal scorer, instinctive goal scorer, but he worked very hard for it, to be fair, and with that hard work became a lot of goals, and then his progression through the ranks was quite rapid, because he came in as a younger sort of under 16, and before you know it, he was playing 20s, and then obviously just before his move he played in the first team.
I've been watching Callum from a very young age, and he's technically very good. His hunger, his desires, work rate for the team, good with his back to goal, quick, good at running in behind, and again, Jack, a very, very good team player. I'll never forget that one of the times, it was only just before he came into our at West Ham, I went to Ballymena and I watched him playing for Linfield reserves in Ballymena on a 4G pitch, and he scored the perfect hat trick, right foot, left foot, headed goal. But I'd seen him score lots of goals that season, but just that day, Jack, I thought them 3 goals and his effort and his desire and his hunger, he's the best player on the pitch, in my opinion. Hence why I got on the phone to Dale Ebanks at the time and just said, Dale, we need to get this boy on a plane, we need to do this, because the hat trick was phenomenal. Cal went on his own because at the age of 16 he was allowed to, so he went over, and I'm still hearing that he gave the perfect trial. Yeah,
well, I'd been on trials. Like I said, things had fallen through before, and I'd been on trials before, but I hadn't been to a Premier League team, so whenever I came over, I didn't know what to expect. But I think it was the second day training, and I think I had probably my best 2 sessions since I've been here. And then first 2 sessions, and the academy manager called me in. It was Ricky at the time, and Ricky told me that they wanted to sign me in January.
Callum Marshall, wonderful finish. Do it with the cross. Callum Marshall.
I think the whole group, that team we had last year in the Youth Cup, most of it's here now. In the 21s, I think that's why we're doing so well, because it was a very tight-knit group. There was good atmosphere and stuff around the group. We had 3 top strikers, and we were all wanting to play. It's just playing for the team rather than playing for yourself. As long as the team win, that's the main thing. We worked well as a trio, and we all got good out of the season. And at the end, we got League, Youth Cup. We should have had the North East South as well. We would have got us Youth League. We should have had that. We missed out narrowly in extra time. That was heartbreaking, but yeah, I think that team done almost perfect season. I went to a 21s training camp, and after that training camp, the first team manager was watching us, and he said he wanted me with the first team the next week, which was obviously unreal that it was with the first team, but it was during summer and I had a holiday booked, so kind of wrecked my holiday. But yeah, I had to, so I had 3 weeks of training camps for the first team before that, and then we got in, and I didn't think I was going to be in the actual game camp, and then he told me that he wants me available for the squad. So yeah, it was great to be involved, and then obviously what happened in Denmark's well documented, and yeah, it was just unbelievable.
So we're in the last chance saloon. Jordan Thompson over the free kick. Throw it into the box and hope for the best. There's the first part. It's in! They've nicked a point! And it's off the bench, Callum Marshall on his international debut. First teenager to score a goal for Northern Ireland since Kyle Lafferty, would you believe, back in 2007. And the Danes can't believe it. For the second game in a row, they've had their pockets picked. And now we're going to have a VAR check. Oh no. He's disallowed it. How's your luck?
The atmosphere was proper weird. It was like people were sitting there with like their hands over their faces, like couldn't believe what had happened, and everyone was just sort of looking around to see what way I was reacting, to see if I was going to get like upset or whatever. But nah, it was my first taste of men's, like apart from playing for Linfield, it was my first taste of men's football, and the scenes after for the couple of minutes when I did score was something that I'll never forget.
That'll have deflated him after, but you see with the goal and you've seen the excitement, how much it meant firstly to play for Northern Ireland, to get his first goal or what he seemed like. And if he continues on the path that he's on at the minute, the progress that he's on, there'll be not many more caps, there'll be certainly many more caps ahead, and hopefully one of them players that Michael O'Neill and everybody in Northern Ireland were crying out for at the minute.
For VAR, to keep that kid waiting for 7 minutes, I just felt for him, because you could actually just see his face and the anxiousness on his face as to what's happening here. And when it was ruled out, and when he was interviewed after, again, he was very, very strong.
I think my mum was crying. My dad was sort of like me. He was just like, couldn't believe what had happened. And like, I remember coming in like after the game, and all my mates had posted stories and tagged me, like Instagram stories, and were like tag me saying like how good it was that I scored. I must have had about 20 Instagram stories tagged, but because I never actually got to see the story, because when I came back in they deleted them because they saw it got removed, so I just came into like 20 deleted stories which is funny, and I just started laughing about that as well. But it was nice to see like how many people were congratulating me and stuff, even for the short time that it did count. I think it was number 11 as well, which is mad. I was expecting it to be like a squad number obviously. And then whenever I walked in the changing room, it was number 11. I was like, this is a bit mad here, being number 11 for the first team. And obviously made my home debut as well in that last camp. This is like my old team, Linfield. This is our home ground. So they share with the national team. I'm used to it because we used to train the day before, even though I wasn't really like starting games and stuff for the first team. We used to train here every Friday, the day before a game. We used to have a match day -1 session, so sort of brings back out a bit. Well, everything's bigger whenever you're smaller, like, so it used to like feel like the biggest stadium in the world whenever I used to come here. Like, I didn't get on the game after the Denmark game at home, but even when I was warming up and stuff, there was people shouting like Marshall and stuff. Marshall gets away, which is weird, like, but yeah, it'll be good to make my debut.
Callum Marshall comes on for his home debut. So much expectation around his progress, the West Ham player. He's been scoring for fun for the under-21s. It was so unfortunate to be denied a famous debut goal against Denmark.
Callum will have loved and, you know, felt the warmth of his appearance the other day. Again, people will also be aware that he came through the Northern Ireland sort of youth. He came through, you know, our own Linfield and before he went to West Ham. So he'll want more of that, which is a good thing. Once you get a taste of it, you want more.
It was another step in the right direction towards hopefully being a starter. Even when I was warming up, like at half time, we were doing like pings, like you would do every half time with one of them, and I was still like, every time I'd done like a bad touch or something, I was sort of looking about to see if anyone was looking, and just I was hoping that they were all looking at someone else. So yeah, it's mad like how many people are looking down on you, and just as much as there is pressure, it's trying to make that a good thing rather than crumbling underneath it. Straight after the game, I was just looking for mum and dad because I don't know where they're going to be in the stadium. I was just trying to like catch eyes with one of them, and then I saw my brother, and then knew they'd all be surrounded, so I went over and they were just hugging me and stuff and telling me how well I've done. And I'm from like a very supportive family, like full family. Like if I'm doing well, I always get messages from my cousins and my uncles and aunties and stuff saying I'm a granny and granddad, just like saying how proud they are of me and stuff. So they're always going to be there whenever I'm like doing stuff well. So it was great to like see them straight after the game.
How about you? Nice to see you, Pop. Right, son? Nervous, isn't he? He's a bit nervous.
I'm a bit nervous. Like,
Are you?
going up there, but nah, I'll be fine.
Mate, no, it's good to have nerves.
Yeah.
Fear drives you, mate. Trust me.
2 years ago I was playing the Irish League, like as like a sub, like I wasn't starting or nothing, and now I'm going to play in the Champ League, so it's been mental, like. And I made my debut last week in the FA Cup, and now I'm signing this and then going off to West Brom, so it's been a mad few weeks as well. When I first joined, there was just me, like I was the only Irish one in digs, and now there's like 5 Irish boys now, and we all get on really well. So the club's completely different than when I first joined. Like there's so many new faces and stuff because they brought in new lads and stuff. So I think it's a completely different atmosphere, and I think the 21s are flying at the minute, and I think this year's been really good, and hopefully I can push on and make the rest of the year just as successful at the start.